Here's a question, like how does a church create a culture so that people can feel safe in? You know, like how can they? Is that a leadership perspective, or is that a people perspective? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I really believe that the churches need to get back to community, really fostering community, fellowship, gatherings. Because I think there's this disconnection. I think it's because of what's happening in broader society, right? Once upon a time, you hear our parents talk about, you talk with your neighbor, or the village raised the child. And as you know, globalization, everything is pulling us more apart, individual. You'll go inside your house, sometimes you see your neighbor, you're running inside so that you don't have to say hi to them. It's this kind of feeling like it's this individualism that is now coming to church. And let's be real, if I don't feel connected to you, that bond, I'm not gonna tell you anything. I'm not going to feel safe to be able to, but you see when you're connected and you feel like you're family and you're knit together, it becomes easier to share, and then less of the suspicion around, oh, what's wrong with them, and so forth, where everyone tries to come together and really collectively help. So I think it's community, you know, we're larger structures, what have you, but really getting back to the basics, heart to heart.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of churches do cell groups or home groups, etc. And they try to build and develop that community. But I guess obviously people within that cell group or home group, still there's that fear of being vulnerable. I don't mean, you know, what every time you get together you're just unloading all your dirty laundry.
That's right.
But, you know, do you think in the church doing that today, it's beginning to foster community, or is it just another program that we've adopted because that was what it is what we should do, and so we're doing it, but is it really being beneficial, is my question. I mean, I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah, I think it depends on the ministry. Some ministries have self-groups, some don't. I don't think that's the only model. I think there's things within churches that you can do. But I think that there's a lot of pressure on the 21st century church. You know, outside pressures coming in. And when we talk about being real, we have to also acknowledge that you don't just go any and anywhere and just tell everything. And I think churches have to equip people, counselors, intercessors, what have you, to take on. Because when people speak, they have to be able, you have to respond to that in a very loving way. You have to know what words to say, because sometimes, you know, you may say something in the comments you get, you're just like, I'll never ever say anything again. So we got to train people in ministry of counsel. You know, Isaiah talks about, you know, the spirit of counsel and so forth, so that when people need to unload and talk, that it's in those safe places. It's not any and anyone, but I believe every church has that. I believe God equips the church for, and I think it's just mobilizing those people within local assemblies. So people know there's somewhere they can go.
Okay.